Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Ravit Show. We have a very special guest today. It's none other than Vishal Singh, head of data products at Starburst. Today we will be discussing about data products, data engineering, data mesh, and much more. So feel free to bring on your questions for Vishal Singh because he has a lot of experience in the data product side. So feel free to have your questions coming in and I'll be taking them. A little about our guest Vishal. With more than 13 years of product and engineering leadership experience, Vishal Singh is passionate about exploring, understanding, and solving customers' problems. Vishal started his career as a big data software engineer and transitioned into product leadership over the years. Vishal drives and delivers for customers' pain points while mentoring, scaling, and growing a diverse product team. Vishal is currently head of products for data products at Starburst and is committed to helping customers unlock business value with their data mesh strategy. So, a lot of talking around data mesh, a lot of talking around data products, and much more. But to be honest, there's a big surprise for you all, which is a giveaway by Starburst. And this is Starburst Galaxy credits worth $500. What you need to do if you need to enter the raffle is just type in hashtag Starburst. I already see a few folks typing in that, but here's what you need to exactly do. So just type in hashtag Starburst in the chat and you'll automatically enter the raffle. What we'll be doing towards the end of the show is picking up one winner and getting in, and you still have a chance. So go for it. Also, I in the chat itself, I'm mentioning the link of the Starburst Galaxy. You can check it out. All right, without any further ado, let's have our guest here. Hey Vishal, welcome to the Ravit Show.
Thank you, Ravit. Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure, and definitely you've had such vast experience in the product and engineering leadership side. So can't wait to learn more about the data products, data mesh, data engineering, data mesh strategy, and Starburst. So why not start with your introduction and let our audience learn more about you?
Absolutely. My name is Vishal Singh. I have been at Starburst for around 2.5 years. I joined the company at early stage, and Starburst had been an amazing place to work with. Before Starburst, I was another startup called Cloud Health, which was later acquired by VMware. And before that, I've been writing code. I started my journey writing code on C++, robotics, then Elasticsearch and whatnot. And right now, I deliver products for my customers. So really excited talking to you about what we have in the store.
Yeah, 100%. That's very helpful. Also, obviously, I want to start something more around the lines, which is data engineering today. And want to learn more from you. How have you seen data engineering space evolve over the last few years? And where do you see it going?
So great question. The evolution has been, again, I'll take an example of cloud too. The data engineering has evolved as the cloud has evolved. If you look at
Hmm.
like where before the public cloud came in, data engineering was more about on the on-prem and whatnot. But I came from the cloud space and I saw our customers spending a lot of money on the storage, not the storage on the Postgres or Redshift or whatnot, but storage on S3. I mean, if you talk about data lakes 6 years ago, there was no data lake. People were using warehouse. Now, data lake, we're talking lake house. So the cloud has started the evolution around data engineering, and which has evolved around where should I store my data? How should I move my data? Should I do ETL or ELT? How can I get access to my consumers in a second? So these are all the problems our data engineers trying to solve today, because the velocity and need to access the data, which used to be a couple of days, is people are asking, can I get access to my data now? So data engineering has evolved with a couple of data stack, which we call it modern data stack. but I think this evolution has just begun. There's more to come in the future as we see evolution on the technology side.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Also, we have a few folks joining us. Thanks for that information, Vishal, by the way. And just for our folks who joined us late, wanted to give you a quick heads up that Starburst is kind enough to give away $500 worth credit for the Starburst Galaxy. And this is where you can go and check out the Starburst Galaxy. And we'll be announcing the winners towards the end of the show. It's hashtag Starburst. What you need to put in the chat. I already see 5 entries. We have a few folks who've already joined in. I have some questions for you, Vishal. I'll definitely be taking all the questions, but I would like to start this, the conversation by learning more about what is a data product from you, because you've been in this space since years now at
Yeah.
Starburst as well. You're the head of products for the data products. So want to learn more about it.
It's a great question. So when I think about data product, I want to take a step back and think as a product itself. When people use product, it could be any product, it could be a product, an iPhone or whatnot. They use it to solve their day-to-day challenges. They are looking to how can I actually go from solution one to B faster. And
Right.
taking the core principles of product, we are building data product, or Starburst is actually building data product, or even data product in general, which can actually not only give insight into access to the data, but which can also, the data can evolve. You can have different versions of data. You can actually create the data set and share with different folks. You can also understand how that product is being used in my organization, like understand the KPIs, understand like which organization is using more and for what use cases. So taking a different concept around data itself and putting those extra layer of metadata makes data product. Because I mean, let me be honest. Writing query in any data analytics space is the last step. But before you
Mhm.
write the query, you're like, for the marketing use case, should I be writing query against this data set or the other data set? How many marketing folks have wrote the queries against this data set? All those questions people are asking, people are chatting over Slack or sending messages, having emails, can avoid if you can actually bring a context in more self-service way in a place that once I'm looking at the data set, I'm also not looking at the data itself, but the external metadata or all the metadata which comes with it. And that's what I call it, what data product is.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And also, what value you think data product bring to an organization? Like, obviously, there's so much out there, and we've heard so many versions of a data product bringing different types of values to organization. But what's your take on that?
I think the one of the biggest value I see from the exec to the end is like the executive want the velocity in the organization,
Hmm.
especially in this today's DNA age. There's new products coming out every day. Everyone wants to actually create new products, build it for their customers. While they're building it for the customer, people wants to iterate on their things faster. So the challenge from the exec, like how can my team be more agile and have more velocity? Then the challenge from data engineering, okay, I got a request from data consumers that they need data from Azure, AWS, on-prem, and in a more curated manner so they can actually write some analytics and write some, how do they do that? How long will it take me to give them access? Now, the data
Hmm.
engineers will also want to understand, I also want to know how they are writing queries, what kind of queries they are writing. They're writing more queries or CPU extensive query. Are they pulling the data or they are writing to the data? Then comes the last point, data consumers. Okay, I see all the data in my organization, but how do I know what exists in my organization? In a way that I am not redoing the work which has already been done by other team or other actually
Right.
businessmen. Taking all those pieces, if you think about it, there's so much problem. And now looking for the solution. If you look for the solution, every answer there is a data product. You can actually solve for the exec, which they can bring agility and velocity in the organization. Data engineers can curate and create a data product within few minutes. And data consumers can actually get insight, not just from the data, but what that data even means.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool approach that you have, and definitely you've touched on a very important point, which is about how you're making the execs understand the data product. But
Yep.
isn't like how do you simplify that? Like how do you explain data products to executives who might not understand what data product means, to be honest? And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no,
Go ahead.
go ahead, please.
No. I was saying it's a good question. The way I feel like the one thing I asked you exactly, how hard it is to hire today. I mean, like if the whole thing is global. Now let's
Right.
go hire somebody who knows Python, or let's go hire somebody who knows R, or let's go and then ask them to move and curate the data. They're like, oh, it'll take me a few days, few. The way to talk to exec is that we believe the data team and data folks are everyone in the organization, which means that people should be able to get access to data, share data, and request access to data. It doesn't have to be data team itself. It could be marketing team, it could be sales team.
Mm,
Now, empowering beyond the data team, thinking that your whole organization is a data team and building a data driven culture. And that's what resonates with more execs because data driven culture comes from people's ability to easily access and write analytics against the data set. So,
okay, that's nice way of making the execs understand as well. But when obviously when you've solved that problem where you're making the execs understand about the data product, they also have a bigger vision or a goal, which is more on the lines, how do now organizations monetize these data products? Because in the end it's more about creating a product, but then make it more on the side where it can monetize for itself. So how does that happen, and what are the challenges there? So yeah.
so the way I see it, the monetization of data or data products come from the KPIs.
Hmm.
Even there's a different facts of monetization. One is like, how can this data product create money for me? And how can
Yep.
I also not waste money by creating data products which is not needed in my organization? So it's a two ways to see it. It's not just like creation, but also saving the money and the value from people to not find some data product which they should not be accessing. So this comes into the fact I'm going to talk in the first one, the
Yep.
KPIs of let's actually create data products for revenues. Let's create data
Mm,
products where you can create data products with the Salesforce as an input, and also the data coming from the marketing leads and combining, curate the data so people can access the data sets. So now you're actually combining data from Salesforce in a lake, and you're driving the revenue generation into what can come in. So now the data
right.
product is completely giving you insight. Now, taking a different step, I have created 100 data products, but only four is being used in my organization. And now, as I actually have now, how do I get an insight that this data product has never been used in my organization? I want to maybe actually create new value to it, add new data set to it, maybe get feedback on it, like what should I add
Mm,
on this data product so that people start using and get value of this data product. So that's other ways, like empowering your organization to find the data product which is valuable for them and not even just create some garbage data product which just sits and nobody gets any value out
mm. I think, yeah, definitely 100%. You know your game very well there, Vishal.
of it.
So, thanks for sharing that information. Also, I wanted to touch a little on the data mesh bit as well. Like, what data mesh infrastructure do I need to build a data product? Where do you see that?
So it's I'm going to answer the question on very on the Starburst side. So on the Starburst, we totally believe in optionality in a way
Mm,
that you can create an infrastructure in the region where data sits. You can create an infrastructure in the cloud where data sits. You should be able to manage just your infrastructure. Basically, I just want to run data sets against Lake, but also want to expose that infrastructure, which other team can also actually get access to the infrastructure and get the data sets or data product out of it. So what we like, you can literally create an infrastructure if or ask your IT team to create an infrastructure just for yourself, but you can also connect that infrastructure with the other infrastructure in other cloud or on-prem so that you can access the data sets or data product across those infrastructures too. So it creates this meshness, I like to call it, where you are not only able to govern what you own, but you are able to share what with the other infrastructure, and they can also
Right.
see the data sets in that. So it's very local, but at the same time, if you want to create the infrastructure for the bigger business units and want those infrastructure to come access those, that's also possible. And
Okay.
using that, this is why the Starburst, we as you mentioned, like a data mesh, like Starburst actually believes in the data mesh because we believe that every team and every technology and every use case is independent, and
Okay.
everyone should be agile and should be driving the use case with full empowerment, while also making sure that other use cases are getting access to and visibility into what you're driving.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Thanks for that. Also, since we are on this topic, I wanted to also learn how quickly can you build a data product, and what benefits do users get from building a data product at Starburst in Starburst? Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm gonna say that yes, you can you can build the data products really quick in Starburst. If you don't mind, I can actually share my screen quickly and show
Yeah.
you how
100%.
easy. Okay. So
Let's do
let's
it.
get a
Yeah.
live demo. This is my running demo. So I hope demo
Wow.
dots are with me. First thing I like to show, like this is running on AWS, and you can see
Nice.
that I'm connected to BigQuery and Azure too. So as I can run the infrastructure on AWS, I'm also connected to infrastructure on BigQuery and Azure, and I can
Mhm.
actually write query against Azure datasets and AWS datasets as if they're two different tables. And
Okay.
here, I just wrote a query between Snowflake and Lake. So I have some data sets existing in Snowflake, some in Lake, but I want to take that data set and this data share with my consumers. How do I do that? I mean, you have to move the data into one place, either a Snowflake or a Lake or someplace where you can actually write, give people access to it. With Starburst, you don't have to move the data. You can easily create data products like this, where you have different data sets, customer by region, customer by customer segmentation, and all customers. And you can view these data sets instead of creating. I'm going to show it easier. Here, if I edit this data set, and if I go into next screen,
Mhm.
you can see that customer segmentation is nothing but I'm joining the data between Snowflake SQL Server and actually abstracted where the data exists, whether it exists in Snowflake, using SQL Server or a Hive for my consumers. So all they see is the curated version of data set. So if
Hmm.
you take a query, federated query, and you create data set within a second, and instead of creating a view, you can materialize it, which means that I don't want to actually pay for, SQL Server or Snowflake compute and Starburst compute. I just want to pay for Starburst compute. You can materialize that data into locally into which cloud you're accessing. For example, I can connect to Azure and materialize the Azure data into Amazon S3, and that becomes data product. No pipeline needs to be built. All you have to do is write a query, and that's all you need to know to build a data product in Starburst.
Okay. This is very
And
quick and very cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I was talking about KPIs. You can see how the data has been used, who is using the data sets, who are the top users. So you get all those information in one place. You do not have to go across multiple platforms to actually figure this out.
Okay. That's very cool. Good demo there, Vishal. Thanks for that. Also, if I had to ask if how you describe for me how a domain owner would manage a data product and how that's different from what we are doing today, how would you do that? Like,
So when I think about domain, for example, I work in the product department. So if
hmm,
you come and ask me what features are going to ship this quarter, and I'll know about it. I know even my field really well. But for example, Ravit, if you ask me, oh, can you tell me how the sales process works? I'm like, I have no idea. Let me
hmm,
figure out how do I get that information.
yeah,
Which comes to the point, I know my domain really well. I know how to build my domain. But at the same time, if I'm building a product feature and I want to know how this product feature is driving a sales revenue, then I would do need to know sales process. I do need to combine my product data set with the sales data set to know that information. So how can I actually manage my own domain, but also get information from different domain to to combine and create new information out of it. And that's where domain owner and domains play a beautiful role, because you can assign the domain owner to create the data products, or even bring the players who knows the right data set to create data product in the domain you know everything about. But you can also have access to different domains and work with different domains to get access to that data product, but also create this beautiful data products across different domains and getting data from different domains. So domain owners just creates that agility I keep talking about. You are empowered to build what you know best, but you're also empowered to understand from other domain owners who are building the best for their own domain, and take that information to build a whole new data set which can be consumed in your organization.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Also, does that mean if I hire someone from the business side or IT side to be the domain owner, or how do you look at that?
So it totally depends on the use case. For example, I was
Mm.
talking about sales use case. I
Yep.
would want to hire from the business side because they know more about how the revenue works or revenue ops work. But I also want to measure that how my cluster is costing this year, how many queries came up, how the even details into what kind of auto scaling happened this year, like what time the auto
Mm.
scaling happened, what use cases. And then that's when the IT folks come in. So you can actually have domains for both IT and business users. And it
Okay.
totally depends on the use case you're driving in the organization. And based on your domain, I think does the answer is yes to for both of them, because it totally depends on what kind of data products you're building. Are you building analytical data products, or are you building operational data products?
Okay, pretty cool. So, on that front itself, we have a few questions. Let's take this one from YouTube by Daksh Kinvasra. How do you measure a product success within a specific target market? Very interesting.
Great question. I think the way I see it is the KPIs. I believe I come from the product organization. My buck start with the data. Again, opinions are made, but opinion without that data backing, there's no opinion. So
Yep.
problem, like every success starts with like what kind of data you're capturing, what kind of data is the target market is interested into it, and if you can create and capture the right KPIs for data product and expose those KPIs, and you can
Mm.
manage those KPIs into what you want to achieve. For example, I am actually trying to say that this is the number of set of customers I want to achieve by end of this month. And now the data products can actually show you like what is your value looks like today, tomorrow, and whatnot. And then you can actually measure that what the target you want to go. And then this you start with what's your goal is and what is your end goal is, and then you keep measuring your results with your end goal, and that's how you measure success. As I said, coming from product side, everything I think about data and KPIs.
Okay, pretty cool. Let's take another question there. What do you think makes a data product stand out? Very interesting.
Um, it's for everyone, for because I think that goes to Ravit to your question to
Yep.
how's data engineering evolved over last couple of years.
Yeah.
I felt it in old days. I felt like people who knows data. People didn't know the data, didn't know the data. I think we have gone to the point where even the sales or marketing or product person, instead of me going to my analytics team and asking like, can I get access? I would want to write in the query and get things on demand, because the things are moving really fast. Why data product is a standout? Because it's not for one or two persona. I feel it's for the whole organization. It's for
Right.
the whole organization to consume and understand what insight am I getting on what product am I working. So taking it and making it really easier for even data engineers, as I showed, now build a huge pipeline and move the data into one place, another place. Because I
Right.
do have a use case. Why will I use one technology over other? I would want to use Lake, but I also may want to use MySQL because they have two different use cases. But how
Mm.
do I run analytics and create data products being data living in two different places? And that's what it makes data products stand out.
Okay, fantastic. That answers for the T 100%. And thanks for the explanation. We have another one here from Parvez. This is great product to Vishal. How about the security level on different sources? And I think this is back to the demo, what Parvez is actually pointing out at.
So it's a good. I mean, I can quickly show. I mean, like not sure. Like once,
Hmm.
let me show you something. One more thing.
Yeah.
Let me get back out of it. Here. Cancel this. So I'm going to go back to the data product which I was showing, and I can here as customer segmentation, I can run a preview the data sets. It's going to take some time. It's my own demo cluster, so it's running very tiny clusters. Apologies for that. But the point is, like, once I actually get the data, here's Aaron, who's a sysadmin, who can look at all the data set. But let's look at the Katie's view. Katie also looks at all data, but does not have access to credit card number. And it says nothing. It's the same data product. So what
Okay.
it does is that you can have two different folks because Katie works in marketing and sales department. She doesn't need to know the credit card number. It's a PII information. How can I actually create a data product and actually have a two different access for two different users in two different departments? That can totally be done either using our own roles and privileges we have in the software, or if you want to use something like Privacera or Ranger or Immuta, that we also support data products with those tools too. So not
Okay.
only you can use the tools which comes with it, but you already have a tool, data product work with those tools to grant the access.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Thanks for that explanation, Vishal. Definitely helps Parvez to learn more about the security levels, which is super important nowadays. So thanks for that. Also, I know for a fact where Starburst was one of the first to notice the data mesh as a trend, and also then the other companies kind of jumped in the data mesh train. So my question to you is, how can other organizations also jump in the data mesh journey with data products? How
Um,
does that go?
yeah, so I mean, before the data mesh journey came in, I mean, if we're going to take a few years back, Justin,
Hmm.
our CEO's vision is to create this where you can access the data no matter where it exists. You can federate it. And as I said, like when I said like I can create a cluster in Amazon, and that cluster can connect to the cluster on the on-prem too. You can cluster can connect to cluster on Azure, GCP, any cloud you think about it. The point is like we were already on the journey a couple of years ago where we said like you choose the right technology and for the
Hmm.
right use case in your organization. Don't make a choice because you have a constraint that data should actually be in one place. Make a choice which is best for the use case and for your business. And
Right.
then Starburst, what Starburst can do, can actually bring all those data, no matter where it exists, into one single place to run the analytics.
Hmm.
So now taking fast forward, what does data mesh actually talks about? Data mesh talks about you need to have your own infrastructure for the right use cases. You should be able to connect the infrastructure and run the analytics on the top of that. And we took what existed in Starburst already on the Trino side of it. We
Right.
took that capability and added the UI and the user interface and more layers on the top of it to just match into what data mesh talks about. So I think Starburst, this is why Starburst was first to jump on it because we
Right.
believed into it before, as the data mesh was coming on it because our technology was ready from a couple of years ago.
Okay. I know you mentioned about how organizations can actually leverage Starburst to build data products. So what's like the things that kind of stand out for you when there are organizations actually building data products?
The couple of organizations, I'm not going to name the name of the
Yeah,
organization because I don't
no
know
problem.
what I can say or not. But the things which I have heard from talking to my customers, the customers who are using data products, they're like, how easy it is. One thing, again,
Hmm.
this comes from my background being a software engineer. I feel that data products should follow the key principles of software engineering, which is I should be able to write a code. I should be
Yeah.
able to get the code reviewed. I should be able to deploy the code as my CI/CD pipeline. And then I should be able to, when the code is deployed, then people should be able to consume the product which was deployed on. Then there should be some quality checks around that. So that's taking those principles we have built data products. This is why we have APIs for it. You can
Mm.
actually we can actually build the CI/CD pipeline using data products, which is nothing but a JSON blurb and all of code within it. Now, when I talk to the customers, they were like, wait, can I take 2 columns from on-prem and 1 column in AWS and 2 columns from Azure and create data products within a minute? And the answer is yes. And
Mm.
that excites them because there is a reason why data exists in on-prem. There's a reason why data exists in Azure. I mean, there are reasons why people are moving to cloud. But at the same time, why wait till you move to the cloud? I want to give access to data analysts as they're asking, can I get access to data set on the on-prem? So you can do that while you're migrating from one place to another place. Your organization doesn't have to be impacted by the internal migration going on. So you can create data product. For example, if you're moving something from SQL to Postgres or Postgres to Lake, then you can create
Mm.
data product or union of that data set. And while you're doing the migration, your data product will always show the exact same data set. So you can do the migration while your data analysts are not getting impacted while the migration is happening. So our customers get very delighted because again we have built a beautiful user interface around that too. So not only we have solved the problem, but we have to solve the problem with less number of clicks.
Okay, pretty interesting. So we've spoken about obviously great things that you've covered. You've given us a good example about data product, about what data product is, how our organizations keeping up with that, and how Starburst helping different companies to build data products as well. My question is something around the challenges that you've literally seen today while building data products, or you've seen organizations that actually face those challenges. So can you tell us about some common challenges and how do you kind of achieve the overcome those at Starburst?
So one of the key challenges goes into how do I define my domains? I have heard that question so many times. Like, okay, so how do I define my domains?
Hmm.
So should I change my reorganization? Should I, before I am ready for data mesh, should I actually do X, Y, Z? And then like, should I just move the team around? My answers to all those questions to companies are like, no,
Hmm.
because this is supposed to help you, not actually not help you or disrupt you in a second. Disruption is needed, but if you disrupt the whole organization in a day, that creates tension. That does not create productivity. This
Right.
is why you can create, say, like I have one organization called sales organization. Tomorrow you might split into sales and marketing organization, or
Right.
maybe three organization. How do I actually create a data product, but easily move to other organization and change the ownership as my organization is evolving? And you all can actually do that within the aspect of the servers. The few things people have been asked, like, can I actually create new data products and also actually can actually have the different versions and also understand the impact analysis on the data product itself, like how many data products depends on different data products. And those are the things we do not have in the product yet, but we have integration with the different tools, but we also are building over the next 3 to 6 months to bring those capabilities. So not only you can create data products, but you're also seeing that maybe nobody's querying my data product, but there are 10 different other data products which depends on my data products, and those are actually getting queried more. So this becomes the core data product. So we are also building based on what feedback we are getting from customers to build
Right.
more on the top of what exists today.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thanks for that information, Vishal. We have a few questions coming here. The one here from Mike Nash, and hi Mike, very nice to see you. There are still many companies digitally transforming to develop data products. What key steps do you recommend they do to get ready for Starburst?
I think they are already ready for Starburst. I mean, my answer is if you're digitally transforming, because one of the key piece in Starburst is that you don't have to do much. We as a
Yep.
product, when we come to your organization, we do not say that change what exists today. We do not say that move stuff into some other places. We are literally saying that we believe what the things and technology we're using and use us while you're transforming into from on-prem to cloud or digitally transforming. and you use this to make sure the impact, the disruption because of the transformation is less. So in fact, Starburst can actually help you do that transformation. If you do the transformation, then by the time it might be, did I do the right transformation? Did I do the wrong transformation? You might make some mistakes, but you can find those mistakes when you have Starburst because you you are at during the transformation stage, your data team, your data analysts, the others, the data consumers are not getting impacted. So I'll say, like, if you're digital transformation, you're already ready for Starburst.
Okay, that's amazing. Thanks for that. Very insightful, Vishal. We have a question here from Kate. Hey, Kate, very nice to see you. What are the plans for the next 12 to 18 months for Starburst? Very interesting.
Uh, yeah, all my customers ask that question. As a product manager, I'm very scared to actually talk about the 12 to 18 months because the timeline.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go through that. But one of the key piece for us is that build an end-to-end experience for both data engineers and data consumers to
Yeah.
come in, create and curate for data engineers and search the data set in one place, and also find like which tools should I be using in one place. We have built this for our enterprise. We also have plans for how actually can bring this experience on the Galaxy side. So there's a lot going to be happening over the next 12 to 18 months, are taking the experience which our customer already love and expanding on our customers' feedback. A few things I can talk about: we will be building lineage, versioning of data products, and also some kind of workflow management in the data products where you can actually understand. Somebody can request access data set if I don't see it, or somebody can actually approve the access data set. So all those as an end-to-end experience around data creation and consumption will be the main focus for the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay, that's amazing. Very cool. Can't wait to obviously see how you're going on the journey, Vishal. Yeah, Kate is also mentioning that the Starbucks T-shirt looks very cool. I want it too. So I might ask the team to send us
Oh,
me and
yeah,
Kate as well. It's very cool
absolutely.
now, the logo and all the stuff as well. So,
Yeah.
very quickly here, just for our audience who've joined us late, here's the last opportunity for you to get $500 worth Galaxy credits. What you need to do is just type in hashtag Starburst, and towards the end, where we are almost wrapping up, so we'll be announcing the winner by a very cool raffle. Vishal, you might be surprised to see this raffle because it automatically picks up a winner. So, for those who would be typing in hashtag Starburst, I'll towards the end obviously I'll be showing that to you.
Absolutely.
But for our audience, if you've shared amazing insights, great use cases, you've given us a quick sneak peek into and given us that demo as well about the data product. But if people want to learn more about Starburst, are there any resources that are available for Starburst, and where can they learn it from?
So we have a resource on our website, which is starburst.io. We have
Okay.
the whole page on data products. And then the other thing is like, reach out to me. I
Yeah.
am the lead. So if they have any questions, I will connect to the right folks in the right organization who can help you out, get set up into what's initial steps you need to take. I'll
Right.
also like, sometimes I'll also say that some people think about like, I'm not ready for data mesh or data products or whatnot. You don't have to be ready for data mesh or data products, because sometimes people are not ready for, should I actually use three technology, two technology? But I say that you need to start building the basic infrastructure, the basic cleaning or cleansing of your data set in a way that when you're ready, you're ready progressively. There's not a day I wake up and like, I'm ready for data mesh. It just like happens progressively. So it's an amazing, the I'm very lucky to be working on the on this problem set and working with our customers. So it's and the resources are all on our website. Again, if you cannot find it, you always have me.
Yeah. And
Shoot me an email on LinkedIn.
what I've done is just shared the link of the website, and also the very cool and the new one, Data Mesh for Dummies, is also what they can download it from
Yes.
your. So I have actually shared that as well with them. so they can easily download, learn more about data mesh and the book. Uh, Vishal, it's time. I think folks have been waiting for us to announce the winners. So let's do this. And all the best for everyone who participated. Here we go, and let's do the draw. So it automatically actually picks who have actually typed in hashtag Starburst in the chat. Let's see who the winner is. It is Jignesh Kanani. Congratulations. The team will surely reach out to you and you win $500 worth Starburst Galaxy credits. So, congratulations again. But last question for you, Vishal. If people want to learn more about you, about the data products, where can they reach out to you? You mentioned LinkedIn, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, LinkedIn. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very pretty. I'll respond to as many people as possible, but I will
Nice.
make sure that everyone's answers get answered because as for me, as I said, like for me is to solve the for our customers, and every question is really important for me.
Okay, that's very cool. Thank you very much once again, Vishal. We've learned a lot about data product, data mesh, Starburst. I think you've given us a good demo as well. And today we've learned more about the data engineering space, how it has evolved. So thank you once again for visiting the Ravit Show. And thank you to our audience for asking such amazing questions. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ravit, for having me. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.